This is better suggestion. Officers should pay off the 243 in addition to payment in business. Why?
Hello there.
This is so stupid.
Hi.
Hi.
Shh.
Hey, is there any way
Nope.
that we can move, have some kids coming?
Yeah, whatever you need, Bruce. It's fine.
Highlights, and we can move them up a little bit because I don't want them sitting here till 6:45 or later.
That's fine.
Because
I'm
I
sure
gave them, I
it'll be
said,
fine.
I'm not sure, it could be anywhere between 6:15, 6:30. Or long, one day we back early. An hour.
Ew.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Hello.
Hi, Martha.
Slide down this side. Otherwise my head's right in my bald head's right in the middle of the.
The camera's right
Camera's over
there.
there, so.
Perfect. I'm gonna stand right here. I'll go this way. But what about over here? You won't get it?
I don't know.
I can sit by Martha then. As long as it's not like right there, I'm good.
Right now, it's not working at all, so
Okay,
there's that to look forward to.
that's even better.
No, no, no.
No? Okay.
Display, sound, Bluetooth, printer, mobile, personal system. Crap, on a stick.
Did you get my voicemail? Do you listen to your voicemails?
What? Yeah, about the grant?
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course I listen to that. How dare you? That's like Miss Sales. She said something. You didn't hear what I said. And it was funny. Today I gave her one. So she was running through all the things to approve. I said, you're missing one. And I said, you only told me 4 and then there's 5 now. Or no, you told me 5 and there's only 4 here. So she said, oh, well, Arliss hasn't approved that one yet. I said, see, I was paying attention.
I think I did one for her because she had me put a code and change the
Yeah,
code.
that's one of
And
them.
so I just went and approved it and
It wasn't in
printed
there.
it.
I can't
Yeah.
prove it because it's not there.
Yeah, I
You
just
said
went in
5
there.
things, there's only 4 in here.
It's all right. It wasn't your discretionary. It was district's.
Look at these folks in here. These are great folks.
Aw. You too. Hi, Sophia. What's it going on?
Rachel.
I just got back from soccer practice. I'm gonna change when we have the little private council. And it'll take like 1 minute. You guys are gonna sit up and
I'm in the way right now.
Oh, are the bathrooms on lock?
I'll make sure.
Good. Hey, congratulations. Oh, that's right. I just changed my truck. What's the podcast? Congratulations. Oh, they are.
Yeah, they are. That's what I gotta eat.
Hey.
How's your vacation?
It was great.
Where'd you go?
Memphis?
Tennessee?
Yes.
Memphis.
Graceland.
Thank you. Yes, I did yesterday.
And Beale Street. And the Mississippi.
If you read this,
Huh?
you can get
Yes.
access to see it through direction. Read it. Right, yeah.
You don't like.
All music, actually. Lots.
You want to? Yeah.
Y'all
They're
did.
already there. They're gone. So it's time. You got 10 minutes to start. You want to shut the other one?
No, I just simulated freeze.
Already got another. Can you have someone go grab my key? I just want to see what Okay, well, walking is good for
Do you love it or not?
Actually, have 2 other things. Good. I think it's fun to be like, oh, I'm already in 3 other places. Invite to the same thing that, or not to the same thing,
Yeah,
but
I'll
at the
grab
same
it.
time as the
There you go. I'll
dinner for Boys and Girls Day and the football.
and just
Football
have
game.
them
There's another one.
Yeah, it's the League of Women Voters.
Okay.
They're local
Dinners
meeting.
everywhere.
Thanks.
Right? And I'm like, I can't be all those places.
You cannot.
So. Very cool. How are you?
Doing well, thank you. We're live. It's a nice time.
Live in action.
Well, thank you.
No, because
Yeah, it's, Trying to do some mellow colors today. Just see like how how's everything at the integrate?
Special meetings.
Chugging along.
Sometimes two times a
Beginning
month.
of the year,
It's crazy.
settling into things, getting to know.
I would say routines are kind of coalescing usually by about this point. You know.
Yeah, starting to
Yeah.
see our students come out of their shells.
Get on the resume.
That too. Figure out what things you have to figure out new routines for.
I didn't add anything, I just wrote a note. I mean, what I want for everything, and just really conservative budget.
I don't even know what that means.
Link this, you can also click here to go check that out on NPR. And then I am working with some teachers to try to get a pilot of Conmigo, is an AI tutor for Khan Academy content. And so working with those teachers to pilot that, to see, it's pretty low cost for a tutor. And so we're looking at some multiple grade levels at multiple sites to see the interest there. It's basically for grades 3 and up, and anything that Khan Academy offers, there's some level of tutoring that AI can provide there. And a very important thing with the tutoring, it does not provide the answer. It simply keeps guiding and keeps reframing and keeps pushing until the student can arrive at the answer. So it's not about what's the answer to this problem. We'll say, well, let's talk about like what are the pieces that go into this in a math problem, or let's talk about what's led up to this in history as a reform or whatnot. So it's a pretty well developed AI from what I can tell, and I'll be interested to see some of the opportunities for our students with it.
You spoke at the conference we attended
Yeah,
to
they demoed that.
almost 2 years ago.
Yeah, and it was talking about rolling out this and so we let other districts kind of take that first year. Yeah, learning and having to figure out some of those challenges there, and are ready to step into it now. So.
They usually say to start the AI is about 5th grade level.
Yeah.
And then the more you use it, the smarter it gets.
And this AI is trained on all of their existing content, so it's pretty, I think it learns some of the patterns that the students, individual students have as far as going, the way they ask a question or something, we'll get better at cueing them and supporting. So we're looking to see if that'll have an impact, because we've got students learning all sorts of things up and down our schools, so we want to make sure that we can support that, and they can work that at home too if they want to. And it works out, the cost is about $15 per student, so that's really pretty reasonable compared to what we paid for some tutoring services in the past that not all our students felt comfortable accessing and things. Fiscal update, tonight we will look at our unaudited actuals. I'm going to report about some one-time funding that we've had. That was since our approved budget. We had one-time funding of $480,000 in the Student Support and Professional Development Block Grant. That has a name, but it is completely discretionary funds. And that's for this school year. We've also got our first budget committee meeting is coming up on October 7th at 3:30 here in this room. So folks are welcome to attend that. We continue to expect the need for significant budget reductions moving into the 26-27 school year. That current projection is at about $1.2 million. Could increase if we experience another significant rate increase for health insurance. That's what really drove that number for this school year. The current industry stuff that I'm not specific to education, but just talking about health insurance, is looking at about a 15% increase across the industry right now for the coming year. So we can anticipate that there probably will be some increase there as well.
So 1.2 million account for any increase in other terms?
For next year, no. It's honestly looking at the increase that has recently went into effect and responding to that more so than looking at any potential increases there. We did have an ad that was placed using community schools money and a special edition that was in the Advocate News. Was it last week? Or 2
It
weeks
was
ago?
it was 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. And so we wrote the content, and they took it down to the ad, and we thought that's all it was going to be, and then got the special insert and found that it was going to be this. And I can say, interestingly enough, we are the only school district that put it in 2 languages in the entire insert, including Ukiah Unified, who also responded. So been giving that superintendent kind of a hard time about that, and saying, gotta up your game, you know, we're
Yeah.
doing some things here. So anyway, it's we're very happy to have been able to do that, just to feature some of the good things that are happening here in our schools. We also were featured in the QKA newsletter for our, we put in our pictures for when we did the ribbon cutting for our TK building there. And so it's a beautiful building and it's being used well. We looked at the podcast challenge. We're pretty happy about that. It's kind of a big deal. And that is the conclusion of my report.
Questions?
Just a comment related to you're talking about the Khan Academy AIs at the commencement speech at CMU that I went to in May. They also announced their new sister site that was Schoolworks, I believe, which is a CMU students tutoring high school age students as well. It's a free thing that's available, so you should definitely check that out.
Sure. Yeah.
Sal Khan was the keynote speaker.
All right, so moving on to item 9, approval of agenda consent items. Yes, thanks guys, very much. All set, yeah.
I don't need to necessarily pull the warrants, but I did notice that the warrants didn't have the comment column that it normally does.
We'll
So
make
it
sure.
just had like who it was paid to, but not the corresponding comment of like who it was paid to.
Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of report options when we run these reports,
Yeah.
so we'll make sure to, with new personnel, to get that included in future reports.
All right, 9.1, the warrants, 9.2, the minutes, 9.3, personnel reports, 9.4, contracts, 9.5, offset materials, and 9.6, employee conference workshop attendance request.
Any items anyone wants to pull? Any questions? I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
Second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Yes.
All right. Okay. Moving on to item 10, public hearing.
So this is our annual public hearing on sufficiency of textbooks and instructional materials.
So we'll
Something comes up.
open the public hearing at, do an order right here. At 6:50 p.m.
And again, this is just a routine annual public hearing, and there's a resolution to follow up. We continue to have instructional materials to support all students. As we're working through some of these pilots, it's interesting because like at the middle school, the math program that is there is old to the point where we had to go and find some additional books to meet those materials requirements, but they were like on, I don't remember if it was eBay or just Amazon, some of the used things, because they're just not in print and circulation anymore. And we're certainly not going to buy into their new system until we've done an evaluation to make sure that's the direction that teachers want to go. So So we're moving through things like that to make sure that we have sufficient materials. Our students largely are still accessing a lot of things through the Chromebooks that we have and the subscriptions that we have.
Okay, are there any questions? Any public comment for the public hearing?
No, there's no public comment on the topic for the hearing.
Okay, well, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing at 6:51. All right, moving on to 11.1, Resolution 25-18, Certification and Provision of Standards Aligned Instruction.
Okay. And this is just a resolution that goes along with the, after we close the public hearing so that we can say that we have sufficient instructional materials throughout the district.
Are there any questions? Is there any public comment?
No, there's no public comment.
I'll entertain a motion for 11.1.
I move to approve resolution 25-18 certification of provision of standards aligned instruction.
And a second? Roll call.
Trustee Oxty?
Yes.
Trustee Paoli?
Yes.
Trustee Statham? Trustee Schneider?
Yes.
And Trustee Babcock?
Yes.
And the motion carries.
Okay, and 11.2, District Website Redesign Proposal.
As we've talked about, our website desperately needs to be redesigned, and we've been talking about this since the spring with some different things. I reached out in the springtime to some different local folks. I had contact with one person who said, we're really busy right now, can I call you in a few months about this? And I've never had any follow-up. We've also worked with our partner, Jindy Corsi, who helped us with our principal notes throughout last year. And so after doing some searches with and the pitch and going through hours of work with some of the national brands that are out there, there were many different options that were out there, and prices range for about $5,000. You could get basically the same thing we have right now, just put into a new platform, which did us absolutely nothing for design or changing anything or updating and anything along those lines. All the way up to if we wanted to pay for some really nice development and that sort of thing, ran about $40,000, and that seemed a bit excessive on that end as well. And so I came back to Jindy and asked if she wouldn't mind updating. So she provided us with a document, but she also has offered to be here to give us a little presentation about what this process would look like and give you a little background and any opportunity to ask questions of her. So, Jindy, you want to take it away?
Sure. I'm going to keep it really brief. I would love to answer any questions, but the long and short of it is that the way that we typically help school districts is not only to, as you mentioned, sort through an enormous number of vendors, but also provide you with what you need and make sure that you don't end up paying for things you don't need. So we prioritize ways in which we thought Fort Bragg families would want to use your website. They definitely need access to contact information and menus and transportation, and everything needs to be in English and Spanish. We want a template that flows well and navigates well. And within Final Site, which is the vendor that we've worked with Joe to recommend, they have an enormous number of options in their most basic template offerings. So rather than get a fully custom site, you really don't need to spend the money for that, in our opinion. They've got wonderful templates that would really meet your needs. And so we work in partnership with Final Site, and we do the project management for you. We connect with each of the folks in the district with the content information. We work with you to think through how parents and students and community members are likely to access the site, kind of information they're likely to request. And because everybody at the district already has a full-time job, our job is to keep the project moving. So again, I would love to answer any questions that you have.
Any questions from the board?
I always have the ADA question, but it looks like there's a little person that you can check and validate if the photos, everything's in alignment. And then what's the support like for the staff? Is it something that they would email, or is there one person they call if it's 7 o'clock at night and we're locked up online? Is someone going to help staff?
So Final Site has tremendous support, and we are local, and so if for any reason Final Site went down, you can call us. And I would like to say that I have boundaries, but it's my company and my cell phone sleeps with me, so, yeah, you definitely would have tremendous support. I think it makes sense for staff to understand how to do certain things on the website. I also don't think it makes sense to have them all become graphic designers and web page designers. And that's part of what we bring to the table is your teachers, your coaches, your administrators can explain the result they want, and we can then help them with the design that will get them to that result. And like you said, with the ADA, that was actually an optional package from Final Site. We said ADA is not optional, in our opinion, so we asked them to include it in the proposal.
Any other questions? So you'll have conversations and get feedback from stakeholders on content design, that sort of thing.
Right.
Okay. Is there any public comment on the website?
Yes, there is.
Great.
So this is an emailed public comment, and I talked a little bit about this, but I can address the comment as well. So that I'd like to know the method of invitation to bid on this project. Our company can confirm we specifically were not notified by either phone or email that this was being put out to bid. Should we have expected another type of invitation on this, please advise. Thank you for your time. Signed, Laura Fox. Interestingly, I had both an email and phone conversation with this person, so I'm not sure the nature of this comment. Unfortunately, this is the person I talked to who said, yes, I will get back to you because we're pretty busy right now. And I said, okay, absolutely, we'll entertain that. And that was, I think I spoke to her in early May, and then here we are. So I apologize if we didn't close the loop there. However, as far as this being put out to bid, this is not at the bid threshold that would require that to happen.
And Corsi Communications does other services for the district as well. Right?
They do.
So they're familiar with.
They're familiar with our administrators. They're familiar with our sites. They have had to navigate some of our websites because they do help with posting our principal notes and things, and so they understand the challenges that exist in working with an old Google site. I also want to mention that the funding for this is coming from our community schools grant as a part of our communications and the ability to do that, so it's not a general fund expenditure there either. And it's built in as a purpose within that grant.
And one last question, do you do any outreach to the community when you redesign a school district website? And you're not specific, but do you send out any surveys, or what are you looking for, or anything like that, or do you already have a pretty good idea of what people want?
We typically don't, only because we've been working with your principals for over a year, and they're really dialed in with what parents are asking, both the compliments and the confusion and the challenges. So we're having them be our guide.
Yeah, because I think ours, you almost forget what you're looking for because there's so many drop downs, and it goes before, below where you're looking, and then, so I think like you said, the staff will know the top 10 items that people are looking for and have that be up front, instead of digging. There's just so much on the agenda, or on the website right now.
So another.
Well, you're,
no,
it's a pretty extensive survey with your staff, and sometimes we'll do each school secretary and say, what are the top 5 questions you get? And those we try to make prominent and easy to get to your point. Like if they're not on the homepage, they are in a button or something that is really quick and easy to find.
So if a member of the community has a comment or wants to submit, not an idea for design, but just a statement about, what they want to see, is there a way for them to do that?
We would absolutely have them tell the school principal or give it to the district. We feel like we don't have the same close relationships that you have with community members, and it makes sense for those communications to happen between principals and community members, or district personnel and community members, because that also reinforces that relationship and that bond there. So sometimes it's a website issue, sometimes it's a communication issue being couched as a website issue. So better to have the relationship be directly with the district, and then we will do whatever it takes from a website and communication standpoint to have that instrument serve that need.
So then I guess looking at the district, it might be nice for if people do have thoughts or ideas for a way for them to submit them to site office, whatever, however.
And I did, when I met with the student representatives, I thought, because our goal is that they provide more input on agenda topics, not just their report. And so they both needed to be at a mock trial meeting tonight. But I had asked that this might be something, and they both use the website pretty frequently. So I think if we ask students to, or let them know who the funnel person is to each side, maybe it's going to be the principal or somebody, they might have some, students might have some input too.
Absolutely. Certainly there are all kinds of ways, if you're interested in that, working with you to do that. We can put surveys out, you can have a Google form as part of a principal's note for each school saying, hey, we're going to redesign the website. What's the one thing you'd love to see? Or we're super happy to engage with you on it. I just don't want our team to be in the way of the relationship between your student families and your administrators and teachers.
That's a great idea, actually. Go through the principal or whatever. Just, it might be, there's a lot of ideas and things that you may, we don't think of, and maybe they're great, maybe they're not.
And then,
Well, we don't know if we don't ask, right?
Exactly.
is the final site, I think you said it was called, is there a way to monitor for stale content? So I know there's a lot of stale content on our current site. Just as an example, I was trying to look up, I just did a Google search for one of the agendas, and I came to a page that had like yearly agendas, and it stopped at 22. It hadn't been updated in 3 years, so it's like, well, I should probably find this page and update it.
Right. That would not be a final site. That would be something we would work with.
Okay.
So final site does the template, the kind of the technical back end for you.
Sure.
And then we help you keep the content up to date. And what we do with the clients, the current school district clients that we have where we manage the website, at the end of every year, we go through and every single folder that has the 24-25 school year, we take a look, what's evergreen content and what's not. Administrators sometimes change, as you well know. And so we do it at the beginning of the school year, over like the week or two before school starts, we'll get in touch with principals, have them write a new principal's note. So even the same administrator, we want to have new and fresh information. So I wish there were an automatic way to have all of that happen, but that is that's a content issue that we just have to get into a good rhythm for.
Seems like they could give you just a list of all pages on the site with the last modified date, and just sort it, and then it'd be real easy to see the oldest pages that have never been touched.
In this era of AI, that's a brilliant suggestion.
All right, any other questions? I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve the district website redesign proposal.
One second. Roll call, please.
Trustee Schneider?
Yes?
Trustee Oxty?
Yes.
Trustee Paoli?
Yes.
Trustee Babcock?
Yes.
And Trustee Statham?
Hi.
The motion carries. Thank you for your patience online.
Thank you for joining us this evening as well. Appreciate it.
Very happy. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Cindy.
Thanks.
Okay, moving on to 11.3, 2024-25 unaudited actual financial report.
Okay. Give a little frame for this. as Arlissa is still advancing into this position and figuring all these things out. So we talked a little bit today, and with some introduction, our unaudited actuals are our closeout of the 2024 through 25 fiscal year. So these are, you receive the estimated actuals as a part of budget planning when in June. So this is taking that information and coming back and saying, okay, where are we compared to where we thought we would be then? In the size of our budget, we had less than a 2% variance between what was budgeted in the actuals and where we ended. So I think that's an excellent standard to meet. If you really think about like your household budget, if you came in with that, basically with 2% of your budget remaining, that's a pretty that's a pretty good place to be. That means you budgeted fairly accurately as you move through things. So I feel pretty confident in these numbers, and I will let Arlissa kind of give us an idea of what those numbers are.
So it was a very conservative budget, which is good for us in the futures of our that are coming up with possible or actual reductions that probably will need to be made. So being pretty tight with the budget and watching it is the definite goal, as always, if not more now. And so when the budget was created and to the actuals that I've been working on for the end of June, it was about 450,000 to the better, I guess you could say. So that's not like found money per se. It's just being more tight, knowing that what was happening. I'm sorry. Very nervous. So for the most part, the closing of purchase orders and whatnot, that the encumbrances are released. So then in turn, the bottom line goes up, so to speak. We did have a little bit of, not extra, but in our ELOT program for our extended session program, but those just straddled June and July. So they're already paid actually. So it in turn is, still spent, but good budgeting, knowing that we were going to spend it immediately for the second part of the extended session or the July portion. On the restricted side, the lottery curriculum, I believe, we're going to be doing an adoption for the new year, I believe. And so that's where there's a little bit of carryover for that, but that is going to be for the curriculum that is coming up. So we have the proper funding for that plan in place already, which is great. And so we're just gonna work on the monies that are restricted for like the arts and music and Prop 28, and which is also arts and music, and the ones that are ending this coming June 2026.
We
I
have
think
several
that's
funds that are closing June 30th,
Yeah.
2026, and so we're going to work to make sure that those are extended as we move through the year to offset any relief that we can provide with the general fund as well with those.
right.
Trying to think of other significant. I mean, everything else is pretty much as has been reported. I mean, there was no one area that we've said, oh my gosh, we were so over budgeted in this area or whatnot. It's just as you take the aggregate through a budget that large, it's sort of what comes. So I will say the other piece as we look forward in budgeting that I do worry about is the size of our classes that are coming in versus the size of our classes that will be graduating very soon. There's a significant difference, I mean, to the tune of possibly as much as 100 enrolled students in the district. So thinking about that impact when you think about our the per student allocations that we have, if you have 100 ADA, you're talking, I don't know that right off the top of my head, but we're approaching $2 million in lost or less revenue, not lost revenue. So all those things out there on the horizon, again, those are the classes of 2027 and 2028. So that kind of gives you an idea of, unless there's significant increases, but I think some federal policies are probably affecting some of our enrollment at the lower grades as well.
So I think the town population is down as well, so
So it's,
a little bit.
So how's the federal policy affecting enrollment grades?
we tended to have a lot of newcomer students who were in our younger grades as well. A lot of families would seek out coming to our area just to get their students enrolled in schools. And so I think that has dropped off statewide. That's not unique to Fort Bragg, but it certainly might have an amplified effect given our size. And I think the other areas that are certainly uncertain in the budget is as we look out at federal policy, I'm not sure, quite honestly, what Title I or Title II or any of those things are going to look like in the future. I don't know that anybody sitting in this room knows that. If you do, please give me a call afterwards so we can chat. But the reality is that is a significant amount of funding that we would have to figure out how to accommodate for, because that goes to pay for teachers and aides and other, mentoring support that all of our newer teachers get. I mean, it's all used for things that are very valuable in the classroom and the things that we do there. So all those things that are hanging out there are adding to more uncertainty. And I wish I don't like being uncertain in a budget, unfortunately, but that's
always uncertain.
It is. It's always a changing thing. It's always growing and changing, and but it's just the factors that we have little to no input on when they're at that federal level that literally put every district in California and also the country in a bind around having to make some really hard choices, and sometimes if they do anything similar to what they did this year with the withholding funds in July, we have no tools for addressing that as far as reducing in the current year. It's not a matter of turning off lights or that sort of thing. Those staff all still by state law have employment rights, and we would honor all that, but so that's a year of income that we would, or of revenue that we would have to look to reserves or something like that.
Do you have any idea, I don't, of what that would look like for a year, what that would look like cost-wise?
I think if we were looking at baseline, it would probably, all things total, $3-ish million. Roughly, about $3 million. I mean,
And we as a board have a $9 million reserve.
no, you have a 9%.
9%.
Sorry, yes.
3,400,000, 3,300,000.
So about a year.
About a year of that space.
Any questions? I really appreciate the beginning of the report. It's really easy for me anyway, to understand with all the different funds and the numbers, and so thank you for that.
I think all the support that I got to basically create it.
still credit to the person, so.
Oh, yeah, well, Jamie
Okay.
definitely still gets some credit there,
Yes.
a lot of credit. She was very supportive from our county office and stuff, and luckily she lives here still.
That's hand in hand, so you can have a quiet little
Yes.
transition if she's still at the county level.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, so,
I love it.
yeah, it was very good, and working like literally one-on-one with her, and then all the extra support from Joe and stuff, and actually Renee too. And, just having this is what I need to do, but this is in English, so to speak. And this is in budget ease, or whatever you want to. So, anyway, it was a challenge, but I'm working on it, and I'm going to keep going.
It'll happen again this time next year.
Yes, I know. And next year I won't be having an already planned vacation.
Yeah, the timing will be different.
Yes, yes. No vacations in September.
Right.
Any other questions? Is there any public comment?
There is no public comment.
And one comment, just maybe what are our plans for advertising this budget? Same things, Parent Square.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay.
Start that.
Facebook.
Maybe make sure it goes in the,
We'll put it in our shop.
the
Principals newsletters, yes. Yes.
I'm hearing from some parents, not officially in a capacity as a board, but just talking about messages that with people with 2 students, they sometimes don't read all the messages because there's so many of them.
So that is tough. Well, the new website though, maybe they could push out.
Like I really enjoy. I have one student at one school, but I get 3 newsletters because I'm on those email chains, Parent Square chains. So, but I really am enjoying the newsletters, even just to know what's going. That seems to, or I would think, because again, sometimes Facebook things don't, everybody's
Right.
So anyway, I think when you say $3 million and we have 1 year of reserves and then we will be wiped out, those things we need, and I just hope people come and listen and become educated on what, and that it's constant, even before the political climate and the budget crisis we're in, it's still a moving target and we never know where we'll land at the end. But I just hope our stakeholders take advantage of the opportunity.
And are we on a committee? Is it just 2 of us that go? The October
I
setup?
believe so. Yes. All right, through the lens. Thank you, Renee, for that.
Nothing like a lot of messaging to make your day.
It's appreciated. If I don't have too many, then. Okay, so no public comment. All right, entertain a motion for item 11.3.
I'll move to approve the enforcement of audited actual financial.
One second.
I'll second.
Liz? All right, roll call, please.
I'm sorry, who did the second?
Liz.
All right, lose wins. All right, sorry, Trustee Oxty. Trustee Schneider.
Yes.
Trustee Paoli.
Yes.
Trustee Babcock.
Yes.
Trustee Statham.
Aye.
Trustee Oxty. And the motion carries.
Okay, item 11.4, resolution 25-19, resolution adopting GAN limit for 2024,
Sorry,
25.
your little thing was in here.
Okay, so GAN limit it's an old part of the education code. It doesn't really, it's this thing that hangs out there, and we do it, and nobody really, like it used to tie to something when we had categoricals and some of these things, and it's just an antiquated part, but it's still in the code, so we still have to go through this motion every year. And I talk to business managers and I talk to superintendents, and I'm like, can somebody please tell me what this thing is? And I get this really technical, involved thing, and I'm like, and what effect does it have on anything? And they're like, nothing.
Well, I thought that something to do with the federal or the state government had that level and then anything above that, they could give to schools or something else, but they always, I don't know, I thought there was something
It's always
else
zero.
more related to the budget.
It is, but
The strategy.
it's more on like a statewide, it's not our budget necessarily. It's
No,
not about
exactly.
our
It's the
local
state government that's
anything. So
tweaking
it's this odd,
Squeezes out of money.
again, we go through this motion every year, and this is my 9th time of doing it, and I still don't quite understand what a GAN limit is. And like I say, I've asked CBOs, I've asked other superintendents, and the one person I got to describe it to me from CDE, I was like, okay, then we'll continue to suggest that we pass this, and we will move on with our lives. So.
You don't have a choice, basically.
Yes, we don't,
In the
it's
end,
just a
you don't have a
procedural
choice.
thing.
But they can, yeah.
Okay, the GAN limit Proposition 4, approved by California voters in 1979, aims to cap state and local government spending, including schools, at 1978-79 levels, adjusted for changes in population and inflation, according to Google AI.
Well,
Yeah.
there we go.
Just means that-
And we're still being funded if you adjusted for
Yeah,
inflation
if
and
we're below the
population,
GANs,
we're
Yes, there you go.
actually
if we're
below.
above, they get to take the money.
So it's from 1979. Is there any public comment?
No, there's no public comment.
I will entertain a motion.
I move to approve resolution 2519, resolution adopting GAN limit for 24-25.
And a second. Roll call, please.
Trustee Babcock?
Yes.
Trustee Schneider?
Yes.
Trustee Statham? Trustee Oxty?
Yes.
And Trustee Paoli?
Yes.
And the motion carries.
Okay, item 11.5, Educational Dental Group Enterprise Edge Self-Funded Participation Agreement.
Okay. So, if you have had the displeasure of using our dental insurance through Delta Dental, no one has been happy with it. And so this would be a change to a different provider. This is the provider that the city of Fort Bragg has moved to. The group that it's with is through our insurance company, like the consortium that pulls all that together, but the actual administrator for the program is
Emeritus?
Emeritus.
Yes.
Thank you. And so talking to local dentists, talking to folks who've used it, it is better in a couple of ways than Delta Dental, in that our employees going to the dentist currently, depending on the dentist they work with, may have to pay the full amount ahead of time and then just get reimbursed whatever it is that Delta Dental will pay. Emeritus instead pays the dentist directly, and then there's balance billing that will happen, but at least you're not out that entire amount until Delta Dental processes claims and does all that. The other piece is, if there's a dentist who is not in network, you can actually refer them to Emeritus, and Emeritus will reach out and kind of do some of the things to try to get them in network and negotiate some rates with them. Delta was sort of like, they're there or they're not. And we called, and it was just sort of, so the customer service wasn't there, that kind of thing. So while this has a slight increase for us, overall, it's pretty negligible. It's about $2,500 per year.
Increase.
Overall, not
Yeah,
overall.
overall,
Right.
like literally overall, yeah.
Yeah, so it's pretty negligible in looking at something that will hopefully provide our employees with a better resource for their health and just.
And, excuse me, one of the goals of Emeritus was, in speaking with them on the phone, and then the number of emails, was that, you'd go in, have horrible tooth pain, and you pay your copay, which, is whatever it is, dollar amount, but you don't have to go in and pay for the crown and root canal at the same time before you even get it, kind of thing. So I think it alleviates the stress level when you go to the dentist in the first place, because I myself do not like it. When you know you just pay your copay, like at the doctor or the pharmacy or something like that, and and then it gets dealt with depending on what they do for you, not do to you, for you.
Well, I look at it first way.
Well, I know. But their goal seems to be like a pretty high level of customer service, as he said, and keeping the customer happy, and also keeping the customer, so to speak, going to the dentist for preventative as well. So, and a lot of the local dentists here in Fort Bragg are, retiring, and there's so few that actually do Delta Dental and bill. I think there's one. And I did speak to one biller on the phone, someone who does the billing, and she was like, "Oh, they're great. They're great."
That's good.
So, I figured that was pretty.
Because even though Delta,
worth
you
it.
had to start, it's not Delta's fault, the dentist changed, so
Mhm.
that was part of the
Yeah.
change. In
Mhm.
terms of saying, they are quick about getting a check to you. You don't have to ever call. Sometimes you get the insurance bills and you're fighting with the dental office and you're fighting with hopefully it doesn't get into that. But Delta's like, I'm happy to get something. Now we're like,
We were
get
spoiled
covered.
with first
What, yeah,
because
for a
they were
third,
grandfathered
you get it on
in.
a third paid for.
Yes.
So except that, keep brushing those teeth.
Yeah. And they are affiliate or have dentists and providers, different types of dentists, all the kinds. And in here, Ukiah, Santa Rosa, it's our whole Sonoma County, Mendocino County. It's not just
Local.
one city.
Coverage is essentially the same that way.
Yeah.
Maybe the same level of coverage.
Yeah.
Any other questions? And I noticed there's an annual October 1st renewal. Is that the reason why I'm doing that, not July 1st?
It's just when it fell. Typically, the plan year runs January.
The plan year runs January to December, so it's calendar year. And if, first of all, the time frame from now until October 1st to make that change would be rough.
Right.
But then it would just start over in January, which means people would it would be like start over for 3 months and then start over for the next year, so.
So the contract renews every October 1st for the following calendar year. Is that how it works?
Well, I believe the
That's
contract is with ASIG. Is it ASIG? Yeah.
Basic Edge.
Yeah, and then we pick our coverage person. It's odd.
Nice.
They're kind of like our people that get our people.
But it's 12 months starting October 1.
Mhm.
This is 12 months.
Yeah.
That'll always be a renewal month.
Yeah.
So we don't actually have to, but then your deductible, you reach it 3 months later, or you don't.
Right.
You start over in January.
Yeah, so that's why, people that have met it already, if we changed in
Gotcha.
October, they'd have to meet it again, and then again starting in January.
Gotcha.
So we knew that wouldn't work.
So people will get 2 deductibles this.
Well, then we'll run through.
They'll wait.
It'll wait, yeah.
That's when we do coverage.
Yeah, both,
Medical is
both,
July,
yeah.
and dental's January.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're gonna coordinate all the changeover,
Nice.
so.
Is there any public comment on this dental coverage change?
There is no public comment on this.
I'll entertain a motion for Item 11.5.
Move to approve the education plan for enterprise participation.
In a second.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Oxty? Trustee Paoli?
Yes.
Trustee Schneider?
Yes.
Trustee Babcock?
Yes.
And Trustee Statham?
Aye.
And the motion carries.
Okay, 11.6, QKA contract change order number 001.
Okay. So this was for our Fort Bragg Middle School classroom project that we completed for our special education classroom there. It's a credit of $2,300. So change order that's nice to see, and we're very happy to work with QK, or not QKA. We're happy to work with them as well. But it's FRC that always comes in with this, always trying to find value engineering to save taxpayer dollars where we can.
Any questions? Any public comment?
No, there's no public comment.
No, I entertain a motion for item 11.6.
Move to approve final contract change order number 001.
And a second?
One second.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Schneider?
Yes.
Trustee Paoli? Trustee Statham? Trustee Babcock?
Yes.
Trustee Oxty? The motion carries.
Okay, item 11.7, application for exemption from the required expenditures for classroom teachers' salaries.
So this item it's a common item among districts throughout the state. Speaking with other superintendents on a meeting, the statistic is at least 40% of other districts in the state are completing this form annually, just depending on where they're falling in that. I've completed it several times in different districts, and it works on a lot of different factors that are coming up. It can sometimes be attributed to, recently we've been purchasing more services from MCOE to support special education, so psychologist services and speech and language services, things along that line. And even this year we've got some teacher support services as well. Anything you purchase that has a service doesn't count towards this, and so that's there's some significant monies there. It doesn't include any expenditures for any support staff that are actually actively supporting instruction in the classroom. So this isn't the total that we're spending on classroom instruction, it's the amount that we're spending just on teacher salaries. So it's an interesting form that still hangs out in our budgeting process, but I don't know that it gives us a complete picture of what's necessarily happening in that compensation model. I don't think that, in speaking with my other superintendent colleagues, because I was trying to get a little more clarity around this, because this was something that the county office is like, oh, you have to do this form. And I said, okay, well, tell me more about that. And they're like, it's a form you have to do. And I was like, okay, I understand that, but can you tell me more about what this is? And so I was seeking clarity, and again, other colleagues who've been doing this for some time are all of the same opinion that this is sort of an antiquated, like the intent is really good, but the methodology by which we're calculating some of this, because we're not looking at, again, benefits, we're just looking at salaries in model. So it's an interesting thing that hasn't taken into account all of the increasing costs that there are in full compensation for employees.
So what's the benefit, or something on budget-wise, and why is this, what happens if you don't throw it up?
It's just a required form for our unaudited actuals package.
Can I have my comment
Of course. I mean,
now? Or whenever.
board discretion.
Any other questions?
I think this is probably the most relevant because my comment was actually about the closed door. I'm Courtney Thiessen. I'm a middle school resource special ed teacher. Yeah, I think MCOE is getting a lot of money though from special ed. I think they charge like $7,000 for an assessment. And if we don't pay psychologists and have a psychologist in district or speech therapists in district, we're paying MCOE a lot of money. And this kind of goes to what I'm seeing as an issue of a revolving door of special ed, where 8 out of the 19 positions are new, since I've only been here 4 years. And 4 of those colleagues that I know have gone to MCOE because they paid better salaries. So I think it's an issue. I don't know if that form takes away from our salary funds, but if what I was quoted as $7,000 per assessment and they're getting paid that, we maybe should look at that budget, and we could maybe save money if we had speech therapists that were serving our kids instead of Tiny Eye and online platforms. I just think that is worth a bigger conversation. And I think our special ed is a huge liability. We had a sub all last year for the SEC room. This year we don't know. We hope that she's coming back. She has a brand new beautiful room that's not really being utilized. There's a kitchen, bathroom. It's great. It's wonderful. Love it. But there's no cooking happening, right? Because there's no teacher there. And we had 1 applicant for that job because we don't have competitive salaries here. And if you want to have teachers that are experts, you need competitive salaries. And I get that the budget and whatever you guys are worried about, but I want to trust you because it seems like you guys want to do a good job. And so do I, because I love my job and I love teaching. And I want to be a teacher my whole life. That's what I love to do. I don't want to go to admin where I can make double my salary. I don't want to do that. I want to be a teacher because I love students. And what I see is a revolving door of teachers leaving and having subs. That's why our math scores are down. I can tell you that. At the middle school, we had subs for 4 years. We had people not renewed because no one wants to work here. No one can afford to live here, guys. Unless you inherited your house or you're living on your family compound, which, hey, that's great. A lot of my friends do that. But I don't do that. So that's my public comment. I really love my admin. I love Joe. It's just that I see this budget discussion. I'm just here representing myself. And special ed is a huge liability, and you guys need to watch out for us and for those students that don't have teachers that like what they do. They all want to go to admin. I know 2 people that got their admin credentials already, or they're getting them. And yeah, like I said, 4 left for MCOE because they make better money. If I was in Roseville right now, I'd be making over $100,000. That's where I came from. I took like a, $40,000 pay cut because I love living here, because I love you guys. I love our students here. And we live in a beautiful place. But if you want more kids in our schools, you want to have young teachers with young families, attract them, pay them a good wage. All right, that's probably over 3 minutes.
Thank you so much.
But thank you.
Thank you for staying.
Thank you.
Thank you for.
Is there any other public comment?
There is no other public comment I'm aware of, unless somebody else wants to step up.
Any more questions or comments from the board?
I just want to make sure I'm reading when I'm looking at the comparative analysis of compensation, I'm just looking compared to Mendocino, because I have a lot of experience working in the Mendocino school district for 10 years. I'm reading correctly so the maximum salary at Fort Bragg, 103 versus Mendocino is 94, so we have a higher maximum salary and they have a lower low, is that correct?
Yes.
That's correct.
Or at least and I don't know if they've had negotiations that have concluded any time recently. So
yeah. So, and I want to be able to pay teachers more because I think our teachers deserve to be paid more within the restriction of the budget, but I don't want to, I just want to push back on the notion a little bit that, that's why our math scores are so much lower, because it sounds like we're paying our teachers a little bit better than Mendocino, and Mendocino's math scores are double ours. So I don't know if that's a fair, direct analysis. That's trying to comment on that.
So I'm confused as to what we're what this form does.
So it is a required form that basically, because we did not spend the statutory amount in salaries, it's an exemption to that basically for unaudited actuals. I think as our one-time funds tend to, like, I think the picture this year will be very different. We'll probably be pretty close to that, I would imagine, as far as the percentage goes. I don't know exactly off the top of my head if we'd be right there or not, but one-time funding had a lot to do with, the difference in percentages as well.
And wouldn't it be accounting for the unfilled positions? Because we do across the board, I work for the city now, and it's a revolving door.
Yeah, if we're not actually spending any money on
There's lots of different
salaries,
reasons why, and their pay scales 5 steps. So it's, I know that it's been the board's, when it's been, since I've been on the board, that our pay scale has been increasing. It was way worse, believe it or not. That is always something to work on and to make teachers feel valued. And that's the trick. But does that account for this large amount? Does it account for the unfilled positions, that salary that's in our budget?
That's part of it, and again, then our one-time funds as well that are included in that budget that they're not an ongoing source, so it's not a place that we would really suggest that we would put salaries and benefits coming out of a one-time source. It's just not, that's not a move that we would try to make. So there's some compounding factors as to why the percentage is what it is there. So like I say, I think that we will see that percentage level out certainly more. I think it's definitely above 50% at this point.
So this is what you were saying in the beginning, I'm sorry, that, because I thought we're 80-something% is salaries, and so this is not.
This is just salary.
This is
not
just-
salary
There's
plus
no,
benefits.
okay,
And
nothing
this
else.
is
That's
just
what you were saying at the
teacher
beginning.
salary.
Oh, so no
amount.
aides, no, okay.
Right.
Because
This
I'm like,
doesn't
wait a minute, how
include
is
any
number
of the
so
other-
low when the,
Exactly,
80
and that's
whatever
the-
percent is people?
That's the
Okay.
unusual part about this.
And is admin in here too?
It's not about any of the supports or anything for anywhere. It's strictly teacher salary.
And that's why we don't see it every year, is because we hit the 55%.
It's one of those, sometimes we have and sometimes we haven't. And again, that's pretty typical in districts that I've been in, that it's districts our size, you get that one-time infusion and all of a sudden you're like, okay, now we're out of sync. And
There's also
then,
something about the ratio, right? How many admin to T, there's all those other things too.
there's
Yeah.
all sorts of,
Yeah, this was a very interesting form to be filling out the other day, or not the other day, a week ago.
Yeah, we haven't seen any.
No.
See it every year.
I can pull out last year's for you to see what it looks like compared to this one, if you like.
Oh, because you do it, it only comes to us if it's under 55.
right.
Well, no, I think it's part of the package, the packet, I'm sorry, the packet. So, because we're at the threshold is 55%, but we're at 47.56, which is why we need the waiver.
We'll pull it out, okay.
Yeah.
See how close we were last year.
Yeah, I can pull out
Something to
that.
look at, I mean, something to.
Yeah, I can pull out that
Follow.
information. And for the most part, it is the retaining of teachers and then having to get the services from MCOE
Gotcha.
instead, because that's not salaries, it's services.
Mm.
So that's why there's a waiver to take the top off of that. So I would rather have teachers here too.
Any other questions? I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move to approve the application for exemptions for required expenditure classroom teachers' salary.
Second.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Paoli?
Yes.
Trustee Oxty?
Yes.
Trustee Babcock? Trustee Statham? Trustee Schneider?
Yes.
And the motion carries.
So I would email it to us when you find it tomorrow or whatever, that form.
Mhm.
If you want to email it to us.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Item 11.8, district employee driver application requirements.
Okay, so we discussed this last month as a first read. We want to recommend lowering the age of an employee driver to 21 with 3 years of driving experience. And this would apply only to employees, so this isn't for parent drivers or anything like that. And this is, while our insurance recommends that we keep it at 25, it's not a requirement on their part. And as we said last time, I was speaking with our transportation manager, Jeanette, at the bus barn. She's like, they can start the process at 18 to drive a school bus. So maintaining at less than, at 21 should be fine with the required driving experience. And very rarely do we have employees that fall even close to 21. They're usually a year or two older than that anyway, on top of it. But so otherwise, I would recommend approval.
And I think we also wanted to, I don't know if it's written in there, but everyone would have at least 5 years driving experience.
Oh, 5 years,
Because
okay.
I think, isn't it 5?
It says
I-
three
I-
on there.
Three, I think it's 5, but
Insurance recommended 3.
insurance was a minimum, yeah.
Yeah.
Because, holidays number, I mean, someone could start at 18.
Yeah. The
Or they could
insurance-
choose, there's some kids that don't have their license at all, so that you could get someone in that done 3 years is
Yeah, insurance recommended a minimum of 3
3.
years.
And at 21, you could have 5 years experience already,
Yeah.
or you could have been licensed at 18.
Right, I think it's kind of good,
Yeah.
yeah.
My question was just on the form, on our current form, it's supposed to be a red line, but it's just like red highlighting of certain
Oh,
phases.
yeah.
It's not actually crossed out or anything.
It
so
didn't
I'm
do
not
the
sure.
cross out, yeah, sorry, it would be. So
The red will be removed.
the red will be.
Yeah, it won't be any red.
So it would be a driver must be at least 21 to drive for business purposes and transport students. Possess a valid driver's license.
Any other questions? Is there any public comment on this item?
No.
The
no.
IT department just wants to say thank you so much for. We're back here doing math real quick. But thank you so much for approving this and whatnot. It's really gonna help us out this year. We just want to say thank you so much.
So I hope that we don't pass it then. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just messing with you.
All right, so,
And the coach and also, that's a lot too.
I'll entertain a motion for item 11.20.
So I'll move that we approve the district employee driver application requirement.
Second,
I'll second.
and roll call, please.
Trustee Paoli?
Yes.
Trustee Statham?
Aye.
Trustee Oxty?
Yes.
Trustee Babcock?
Yes.
Trustee Schneider?
Yes.
And the motion carries.
Item 11.9, classified staff job descriptions, instructional assistant, special education.
So with our move to inclusive education at Redwood, lines between special education and regular education instructional assistants have shifted quite a bit. So we want to make one job description that sort of includes them all, so that we're not having, well, you can do this and you can do that. And we want to just streamline it so that they can do this. I will, if this is approved, I'll meet with the existing staff that we have, offer them to move over to this without losing seniority in their positions. Basically, if they choose not to do that, then when they leave, their position will be replaced with someone in this job description. So it's either we have everybody move at once, or as there's attrition, then we'll have them essentially placed into this as we continue that inclusive education push. And so that helps with, we've approved a toileting stipend, and so that wouldn't necessarily be on top of this. It's honestly, it's a little, about the same amount of money. I think it's like $200 per employee per year difference, a little bit more with this approval, but it's really not that drastic of a difference of having that employee with a toileting stipend versus having this job description in place. So that's for the special education resource, and then same thing with our bilingual instructional assistant special education resource. We just take our bilingual instructional assistants and also make it to where they're supporting our special education students as the class, and it's not parsed out between general ed and special ed. It's basically supporting all students, even though it says special education.
So every aide will have this?
At Redwood, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. So it affects 9 staff members at this point.
And has, sort of the following CSEA chapter approval, has the staff have any of them?
Yes, so our site staff had input on this. Our director of special programs, CSEAs worked with me as we worked through some of the language to make sure that we understood what was there. So I think that we've thought out it really combines the 2 existing job descriptions we have, which weren't that far off from each other, but just to clarify some of those areas that we've had concerns. Toileting is kind of one of the biggest pieces that sat out there because it's just not included in that general instructional assistant job description, and with TK and with just inclusive practices in general, that's one of those sticking points that some folks have. They want to be compensated for providing that additional service.
Any other questions? Any public comment?
No, there's no public comment.
Okay. So I have a motion for item 11.9.
To approve classified staff job descriptions, instructional assistant, special education.
And a second.
I second.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Statham?
Aye.
Trustee Babcock?
Yes.
Trustee Schneider?
Yes.
Trustee Oxty?
Yes.
Trustee Paley?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Okay, item 11.10, California School Boards Association Artificial Intelligence Board Policy Review Packet.
So this includes our policy updates for existing policies to consider AI, as well as a new policy about supporting the responsible and effective use of AI in the district by staff and students. We're continuing, as we talked about earlier, to have some professional development opportunities to learn more about that responsible use. It's something that will be ever evolving, we believe. But I also see the value in finding some ways like Economy Go and some other things that can save our teachers and our instructional staff some time, or to provide more value for our students in the classroom while our teachers are able to use some more targeted assistance for the vast needs that our students walk in with every single day. We have a lot of different instructional levels that sit in a given classroom, and so having ways to help ensure that every student is making that progress in a meaningful way without the teacher having to spend hours and hours and hours of time in development of lessons and tutoring and that kind of thing, I think is very valuable to have in place. And I think much as when the Internet 2.0 came around, if you're old enough to remember that being a thing, folks were like, we're not sure what this means, but I think that we can see the writing on the wall and know that this is going to be a shift in how we do, how we use technology in our practice as in both education and workplace throughout the world.
Any questions? Comments? Any public comment?
There's no public comment.
Okay. Entertain a motion for item 11.10.
And to approve the artificial intelligence board policy mini packet in CSE.
And a second? Roll call, please.
Trustee Babcock?
Yes.
Trustee Oxty?
Yes.
Trustee Statham? Trustee Schneider?
Yes.
And Trustee Paley?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Anything need a break? Keep going. Item 11.11, California School Board Association recommended board policy administrative regulation June.
So we had these as first read last month. Since that time, we haven't received any significant feedback about those policies. Many of them were driven off of legislative updates. So there's not really any changes that would already be legislated if we were to choose not to adopt them. So.
And I think that some of the items that we're saying you shall do this, you shall do that, we had already had those systems in place.
Yes. Yeah, so we already have practices, and this is just updating the policy to that.
So many.
There are a lot. June is always a heavy one because of July 1st updates
Yep.
come into law. So.
I remember talking about the school bus. I was like, oh, you can do that in this. Yeah, we already do that.
Yep.
All right, any questions or comments on the June updates? Is there any public comment on the June updates?
There is no public comment on the June updates.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion for item 11.11.
Recommended board policy administrative regulation of June.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, roll call, please.
Trustee Statham? Trustee Schneider?
Yes.
Trustee Paoli?
Yes.
Trustee Babcock?
Yes.
Trustee Oxton?
Yes.
And the motion carries.
Okay, item 11.12, job description, assistant superintendent.
Okay. So as we look toward reorganizing at the district office, we've got some retirement of HR staff. We have, our director of special programs will be retiring. So we're looking at some opportunities to just reorganize and sort of centralize some of the pieces that we have. So while this would be a new position, this would be shifting some existing personnel that we have, and just, like I say, reorganizing into a structure that sort of is more efficient in communication and flows up and down the organization in a more effective manner. With this shift, it would cut back some of our HR personnel while also being able to have, basically, it would be myself and the assistant superintendent. We would not have a administrator in the seat for our director of special programs. That we would have more looking like a program specialist or something that could support in that role. We would be cutting back on our personnel in the personnel office and moving that to some administrative support eventually is kind of the idea there. So again, it's a fairly cost neutral thing with making some of those changes. It's just trying to streamline that in a way that that just makes the leadership more centralized and more efficient across the district. So, again, this hasn't been advertised. We haven't moved forward with it or anything. It's just making sure that we have a job description in place and we can start to look into that as we go through these significant changes at our district level.
So there's an attachment.
Oh, okay. It can obviously be tabled because it wasn't adequately shared with the public at that point. So.
I think well, I looked late Sundays, but I didn't read, like, to double check all the attachments, and then they were published. So,
Obviously, we don't.
but I think when I first came onto the board, they've always wanted to have some sort of restructuring, but they always think the limits, couldn't be met. But I don't know if taking out these other and combining or how you're going to get around that.
So it's essentially switching for, right now our director of special programs is one of the administrators in the administrative ratio, this essentially switches that position into the assistant superintendent to maintain that same ratio. So it's the same FTE, it's just the responsibility shift in a way that's, I don't
It's
know, just-
discussion this evening.
Yes, it just makes more sense. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I just want to say, we can't approve this tonight. I've been an advocate for something like this for a long time. I think some might feel like this makes it the district top heavy. I think that the more support you have at the top, the more support that all staff and students eventually feel throughout the district. I know there's a lot of areas sitting in this seat for a few years that could be improved upon if just the superintendent had more support within all areas. That would eventually obviously benefit the staff and ultimately the students.
Well, and then I think, I don't know if it's been 5 years, because even the VO has been restructured a couple of times. Back in the back there. So this is just another shift because we had another person go on a leave. So that there really is less, well, it'll be less people, really. But I just don't, I don't know what that looks like because we don't have the job description to know like how that's.
Yeah, so the areas of responsibility we'd be looking at are special education, human resources, English learners, foster youth, homeless youth, those kind of things should all fall within the assistant superintendent's domain. So again, many of those responsibilities just kind of combining into that one position.
And would it require an admin assistant?
It would, so that would be the thought, but even in calculation with that, it would be, like, say, fairly cost neutral, given the people that we currently have that are leaving for whatever reasons.
So we'll table this till next month. Is there any public comment or other questions with the board about this at the moment?
No, there's no.
We'll bring it back in October. Okay.
I'll move to table it.
Okay. Yeah.
We do, according to the rules of order training, I just stated my
Great.
CTA training.
All right, we have a motion to table item 11.12. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. So roll call, please. For table item.
Yeah. Doesn't she doesn't.
Trustee Paoli,
Yes.
Trustee Statham,
Aye.
Trustee Oxty,
Yes.
Trustee Babcock,
Yes.
Trustee Schneider.
Yes.
And the motion carries. This item will come back on the 16th for action unless there's a special meeting before that.
Okay, moving on to information discussion, 12.1, expanded learning opportunities program plan updated for 2025-26 school year.
I think last time I mentioned to you that we would be providing an update. This is the updated plan. It just adds in kind of what our practices are for this year, as well as there's been an update in what they call attendance recovery. So in our expanded learning, when we have students who are in after-school programs who are receiving instruction from a certificated person, which we do have some of that, particularly middle and high school, but throughout the district, that we can track their hours and actually claim that as a part of not only current absences that they have had, but it can actually credit towards future absences, which is a really interesting thing that they put in place. So when you think through all of the absences that a student could have, it's a way to credit that back in for both the student and for the district. I don't know yet. The question I have out there is if it affects our chronic absenteeism as well, like if it counts as credit that way or not. I'm not sure. And I'm not sure if the state's sure or not yet, because this is sort of a new thing that they're funding as they're moving through. The idea being that these are programs that we're already paying for, so it's not an additional cost. That could actually be one of the rare instances where we can generate more revenue because ADA equals revenue for students. So programs that we're already doing, we're already participating in, so it may be a way to help address our deficits and the budget side of things as we move forward, because every ADA we can earn is about another $17,000 for the district. If there aren't any comments, then I will suggest that next, we bring that back in October for approval.
Does this incorporate any of the equity work that you've done? I know it may not be as relevant, but still programming.
It's one of those, yes, they are actively working with professional development that addresses many of those pieces. It's not necessarily outlined in this plan because this plan is something that's prescribed more from the state level as the outcomes and pieces that they want to see addressed there. But I do know that their professional development has centered on ensuring equitable services and outcomes for students.
If appropriate, under section 6, which is called diversity, access, and equity, I don't know if it makes sense to add something about that.
Okay, I'll ask them about that for sure. Yeah.
And then I know one of the providers was having a federal audit, a check or something.
Federal program monitoring.
Okay.
We're still working through that. We have submitted some documents. We're waiting on our partner to submit I think 2 more documents, and once we have that, hopefully that'll get everything closed out. It's just making sure that the verbiage is exactly what needs to be for them to check the box and say, yes, that meets the standard. So there's nothing that's concerning. It's just going back and forth getting the formatting.
So no red flags, everything?
No, nothing. Everything looks appropriate. It's just interesting that we're now 2 years from the expenditures. So they're looking at the August of 2023, the invoices from there. So it's as we get further and further away from that, they're like, and the interesting part, the state didn't even give us the standards by which we would be judged until midway through last school year. So it's that year was already closed and everything was done by the time they're asking us questions about it. Interesting.
So is
Yes.
Any other comments, questions? Any public comment? Okay, 12.2, equity walk schedule and process.
Okay. So as you know, we are in our 3rd year of work with Nicole Anderson and Associates around our equity. So there are a couple of things going on. We have our proposed equity walk. Well, this is when we are doing our equity walks because it's really hard to move that around. What I would propose is that each of you look at your assigned site. I'd like to have you accompany us on that walk if you're available on those dates to be able to do that. Obviously, if we need to switch or something like that, we need to switch dates among members or something. We can work that out for sure if there's unavoidable conflict. And then Nicole Anderson also is asking if board members are available October 9th. I know that's fall break, but it really doesn't make a difference for me if you're available. She would like to do a workshop with us to prepare for the equity walks and just have some other conversation as well around some of the qualitative data and then quantitative data that can be gathered not only through the equity walks but through our conversations with our administrative staff as well. And to give you an idea of the structure for these, we have basically 2 different teams. Our K through 5 team and then our 6 through 12 team. So K through 5 will tour both of those campuses and 6 through 12 will tour our other 3 campuses together as a team. So they all get the same training background and then kind of give feedback about what they see based off of that training and support that's provided. So we spend about an hour and a half of time actually going out and making observations. Quite similar to the format that we've used for our instructional rounds. It's just with a slightly different lens, looking at that equity piece and looking for opportunities to, as a system, to improve equity for our students. It's not evaluative of any particular teacher. That's not the point. It's looking at the whole of a school and saying where are some opportunities that we may have to improve systems and support students better.
And that's the schedule, 7:45 to 1:30 on our days?
Yes. So we would start with a little bit of And it might depend on the particular, this was just a proposed generic schedule, but on particular sites would be, so our first one, that would probably be about right. For Redwood for
Yeah,
sure.
And I think I'm available. So that works.
When we get to Dana Gray, we may look at shifting that a little bit because they start a little later in the day, you know, so it may vary a little bit based off the site.
Well, if we're at high school at 7:45 in the morning makes sense.
45 at night. That would be like-
Yeah, again,
No,
so I'll adjust some of those times accordingly with,
And even though our assignments will change in January, we're gonna keep.
I think we should stick with this, yes,
Yeah.
because it's gonna get too complicated to say, okay, we're done.
And if a second board member wanted to join another walk, is that advisable, not advisable?
I think that we said generally, let's not go there just because it's already gonna be, we could have several, like, we're already gonna be split into teams within the team, so to speak, and we don't wanna have so many people in the classroom that we're providing a distraction to instruction.
Who would the other people be with us?
So there'll be other, teachers, instructional staff, the principals,
Just volunteers.
yeah.
So I am, well, it's not a great day because it starts tax season, but I will mark off on January 15th, but I am not available during the October break.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not available
Yeah,
that time, but-
Okay, so October 9th is not a good day. Okay. Well, I
We saw
will,
later, I saw some possible dates for stuff.
there are, and I will reach back out to Nicole to see what other dates she was available. I'm just trying to work with her availability. I think that one, she happened to have, Deborah Keys-Wright was also with her, so she just thought that would be a nice time to make that
I
connection.
mean, I could probably do something virtual, potentially, like as an option. I don't know what you're doing yet. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll reach back out to her and just say what other dates do we have. She would just like to meet before that first.
Maybe we'll take a couple of dates listed and then you don't mind sending us all individual invites.
I'll write them by hand.
Send me three.
How's your calligraphy?
Yes, my calligraphy.
All right, well, it's exciting to see this happening.
Nice.
It's been, a while in the making. Okay, 12.3, 2026, 2027 academic calendar first read.
Okay. So it's one of those years where we're hitting, it's either starting what feels like really early as we go on 26, 27, or that we start a little bit later, but that feels like then we're ending very late. So those are really the two options that exist in the two schedules. Because one starts us on, I believe it's August 12th, which to me feels pretty early to try to get through some of the different processes that need to happen at the school sites to be able to get enrollment done, because you have to remember our secretaries come back on August 1st. So if it's, and in this particular year, that means I think it's August 3rd, something August 1st falls on Saturday. So that's a really tight timeline for them to be able to turn that around, give teachers the information that they need by the time they're back in the classrooms and that kind of thing. So it squeezes on that end of the year, but then when we're looking in June, it looks really nice. On the other side of things, the other starting on August 19th, and then we're going till June 11th, I believe it was, if I remember the dates right. Sorry, I'm trying to hear about it.
Correct.
So the option two also to just, I know that we are our own entity, but other Mendocino County districts is more in line with kind of what they do. I think Mendocino starts that week as well as many inland districts during that time. So we're not.
The later week.
The later week, the August 19th week. So gives a little bit more time there. So we don't have to make any decisions. I just wanted to give you sort of the rationale behind the two different calendars that we have. We do need to have a final recommendation in October and approved, because that's per contract that we put that out by November.
Hopefully, staff can check it out.
So this was a comment that I received from a staff member and it's not on these calendars, so I suggested that she, go through leadership and stuff, but the ER days. They, she was expressing that when we start the ER days so late that the staff doesn't have time to meet. So
I would agree.
I said it wasn't on, it's not part of this calendar, but to me, and I would bring it up, and that, or that happens, so that's it.
And some of that is the site level, because ER days are different at Dan Gray and Dan Gray and Redwood
Oh.
primarily than they are at the high school and middle school because of semester exams versus.
But it also has to do with why we don't start them right away is about the instructional minutes, correct?
It is, because we only
right,
have so many
exactly.
instructional minutes.
So that's what I was wondering what's different, because it's always
Well,
been
they
up
want,
to
I
Labor
think,
Day.
my summary was is that she was suggesting that they start earlier so the staff has the meeting time.
Yes. And I would agree that that's.
And then maybe lay off at the end? So you- like you said,
Well,
you
that's what
have
I'm
to-
saying, I don't know how that works with the minutes, then you go back to a long day, I'm not sure.
It's all about the time.
Yeah, and some of it we would have to look at our contract because there are
Yeah.
certain numbers that are in there. So I mean, there's
Maybe
a
the
lot of
contract
complexities
language,
around
yeah.
the ER days there. But I would agree that this is a long time ago. Like even if we had to give up one somewhere else in the schedule just to have an earlier ER day, just to have that connection, because I see it in my staff, I see it in my leaders, just everybody's like,
Have to.
oh my goodness, we're a month into school and we haven't connected yet. Like outside of those,
Those
the
reading
days
periods.
before school starts, but, we just haven't gotten that time, and I see everybody feeling kind of isolated and some of those things that it's not good because we, again, haven't had that connection, haven't had that time to sit down and talk through some of the issues that come up with students, particularly in the start of the year because they're a whole new group of kids, that kind of thing. So I agree wholeheartedly. I think we can look at that. I think, as I'm looking at our labor partners there in the room with some nods that they would be open to that conversation too, so we can look through and see what we can do there. The other piece with ER days that I'd like to see about is to move, when we're before our break, like a week-long break, that we move the ER day to that Friday instead of a Wednesday, only because, let's be real, most people, if there's a vacation afterwards, they would rather be able to take that time, wrap up, be ready for when we come back, and then actually be able to take a vacation during that week and not have to spend as much time in prep and those sort of things. And that sort of aligns a little better with the human reality of those pieces.
Well, I like draft two. Just seems more, I don't know, we're getting back to,
Yeah, and that's, honestly, that's most of the feedback we've received is draft two is by far has more preference for
I was looking at Easter, but neither week.
it. It doesn't work well with.
March 28th, so it doesn't make
Yeah.
that.
We said the other thing with Easter being rather early that year is to maybe look at with the emergency closure day being something around that Easter holiday, because we do tend to have more absences there. So maybe looking at either the Friday before or the Monday
Good
after.
Friday, Have you heard positive feedback with that, or negative, or?
I haven't put that out far and wide, but I think that would probably be pretty positive, because like I say, I think there's a
I'd
lot
rather
of.
have the Monday off because you want to
If
hang
you're
out with
traveling.
family or you're traveling, and then you feel like it's that dread, the Sunday dread.
Right.
On your holiday.
And so I think it just depends, but I will say from practice, and after last week, sometimes having a Monday off makes for a really long 4 days. Whereas having the Friday off, you go through your normal routine, and Friday is just.
Yeah. I think more people would maybe appreciate, I'm not, appreciate that day off. More people would. So I don't know if you want to bring it back with that.
Yeah, and we can maybe
That's
put
an
something out to staff too and see if there's any kind of preference on it. There's no guarantee that it'll be a day off if we have an emergency closure or anything,
It
but
won't be there.
it's nice to at least start to think of those possibilities.
Yeah. Okay.
The only thing is, I will say, as a former staff person, March is long.
It is.
So having it smack in the middle, looking at where February is and looking where spring break is,
That was part of the
the
design when
15th,
we
yeah, the
when we did that,
15th falls.
And so we can ask staff about that too. It's a
I
quick,
think
we can
that's
do a quick
kind of
survey
a
or
goal.
whatnot and send it out.
I thing about
Maybe we can
Easter
get it
not
ready for
getting
blog
any.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true.
Anyway.
There's my-
We adults sometimes just think about ourselves.
We do. But when I was a staff member, that month is long.
It is, yeah.
And so that bumping in the middle, I think might be attractive too.
I tried.
Breaking something.
And that was, like I say, that was the design thought in putting it where it landed, so.
Because that's why I always wish, or I mean, if I ran the world, that Christmas wasn't 2 weeks because it's so choppy from the week. Because you go Thanksgiving and then there's these it's like spread that out. And we talked about anyway. It's just
Shorter
chunks.
breaks.
It's harder to get the kids back.
Yeah, it's too long of a break.
Okay, any other comments? Discussion? Okay. You got what you need, sir?
I do, thank you.
Great. Okay, 12.4, California School Boards Association recommended board policy administrative regulation of August.
Okay.
Thank you.
So we added some additional material for you to consider with this. I am not necessarily recommending that we move forward in approving these. I think CSDA has interpreted these policies a little different, or these, the Mahmood versus Taylor Supreme Court decision a little differently than what I've heard legal advice, what I've heard some other pieces. So I'm a little more cautious on this particular one because I feel like, number one, we already have opt-out policies that are in place within our district. It's already existing in our policy, it's already existing in Ed Code for the state. So I feel like the protections to students and families that are trying to be conveyed through this are already in existence, and there isn't need for additional policy. There may be additional clarity that comes through an administrative regulation or something like that, but it's not necessarily, I don't think it's putting us in any sort of liability to not adopt at this point. There's even the legal recommendation that we had from School and College Legal Services. It's like, be very cautious because these aren't necessarily aligned with existing state law, and again, I feel like there's already protections in place around this. We've already had some discussions with some parents this school year with certain content, and we've had this same conversation last year and the year before that. Those conversations don't necessarily change.
Improve anything.
Right, and it's always, we always tell the parent, yes, there are alternative assignments that are available if we find a certain amount, a certain content objection.
Because I watched a little webinar on this, and even the lawyer, there were so many pieces because they're so technical. Like there's not, the language isn't there to know exactly, because they're kind of getting the cart before the horse, because you're supposed to provide something that really tell you. I mean, there's a lot of pieces that it's missing, so it's not really been worked out.
Right.
And I think that it can still change a bit.
And the Supreme Court decision applied to elementary curriculum, and it was very specific to elementary curriculum, to which I said, well, there's.
Not district versus.
Right, so it's a very, again, I'm waiting for clarity on this, and I would recommend that we kind of pause on those policies unless the board really has a different feeling about it or whatnot, because I feel like that it will play out, and we will get some more information as we move through the school year, as is typical with these things, as it kind of gets into practice and folks are going, oh goodness, okay, here's that. But we do have, policy that allows for it. We do have forms and things, and I'm looking at other resources that are available out there to see kind of what other districts are doing, but I think that taking a little slow, wait to see approach is a good approach at this point.
So there's nothing legally requiring us to do anything at this point?
No, because I believe that we're already,
You have a mechanism for the
And legal
families.
moves as well, I mean, not that I don't.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. This is in conversation with, from School and College Legal Services and also F3, and they're two different firms here.
And so I did have, and it's kind of relevant because of the topics, the curriculum that comes out, especially, I guess Dana Gray starts to kind of get into it with early middle school and high school. The topics, like the novels, do the departments pick the same book, or each teacher picks they're reading.
I believe
on
as a
from the
department, they
list.
pick the,
So everyone's reading, like if you have, no matter who you have for sixth, seventh, or eighth grade, you may be reading the same books, or maybe not the same
oh,
order.
no, I'm sorry.
They're all different.
They're different year to year, but like our eighth grade teachers as a department pick, this year we will read this novel.
Right, right.
You know.
So each year might be different, but they are all reading.
In that grade level.
Because I just had, here's another, so grocery store talk. It's true, because I had, my personal experience, I had, kids that were in AP, but they were all very heavy books. And just as a parent, I'm thinking it's all good stuff, and there's so many good books, but I almost feel like the kids should be able to pick from a selection, because do I really want to read about all these social things, or the level of like suicide and like heavy topics, rape? I mean, there is a time to talk about it, and I think a lot of times in middle school it hits a parent like, we don't really want to talk about this right now. Like, we want them to be a kid still. So I just feel like maybe it would be nice to have a more balanced, you can still get good, like maybe you do want to put some good, good life skill things that are more positive, because it's heavy. Like, I mean, my poor, a close friend, her daughter was AP, and it was like every book was like heavy topic, and it's like, then, what do they say? When you say something 3 times, you kind of believe it. So like, I just feel like that, I think it should be more mindful, and I could see this being, since this is really headlines, that people might be like asking these questions and wanting to know like, what are their options? Because then that child that's opting out, like, what are they going to get to do? So then maybe like getting ahead of it, because this could get people revved up. And I just knowing I love to read and I love all topics, and I seem to pick topics like that to read, but for kids, I don't know, just to balance it out a little bit more.
And I'd be happy to provide that feedback. back to them, or-
Just to like have them look at it, like really, if you were a child and you were reading these topics, your whole, 6th grade to 12, is that our push off?
Everyone, 6th grade, not just watch someone get murdered on Nursery yesterday too, so.
Yeah, I mean, to keep topics are heavy. I mean, they are, and it's like book after book after book. So, and having that, and the students being able to have kind of a, like, these are your top, like if you could say, these are the 5, let's.
Well, and I think also that ultimately we want to turn them into lifelong readers, and having some choice and involvement in that is.
Some
is a
play
big
and some
force.
fun in it as well. I mean, you need to have those conversations, and I know that's part of probably the help that's going out in the novels, but I don't know, you just have to, I think sometimes we get kind of vested in like, we want to be the teacher that tells them like, these things they need to look out for.
Do teachers still do summer reading lists?
I
You
think
may
for,
not know the answer to that, but I'm just.
yeah, I think for some courses, like at the high school level perhaps, but I don't know that necessarily, it's not like in the past where you're like, you have to have these books read before you.
Or 2 of this.
Or 2 out of these, or, yeah, those kind of things.
Okay.
But yeah, I appreciate you bringing this forward so we can, have the conversation and have folks know that we're paying attention and trying to make sure that they have.
And I would say since this decision, it's not that we've gotten any more or less than what we've had in past years, it's about the same level of concern from parents that we've had reaching out, so
Gotcha.
I feel.
Well,
But
like
it
you said,
hasn't
there's a-
necessarily created more or less awareness in our community at this point.
Right.
We'll see how that.
And there's a mechanism if they really do
Absolutely.
have a personal belief.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on to 13.1, board reports.
I can go. I attended the middle school back to school night a couple weeks ago. That was very nice. A lot of focus on presentation, skill. And then yesterday and today, Louis and I both were in the CSBA main partnership. So that was very good. The feedback they gave at the end was that, the breakout sessions, there was a lot of really good discussions, and we got cut off almost every single one. There just wasn't enough time to talk amongst the other people that you were talking about. But they were, it was actually interesting because there was a lot of people in the two groups that I were in, which were just elected last year. So this is the first time they're taking the training. They've been in, on a school board now for, just shy of a year. And a lot of people are going, wow, why did my district make me take this 8 months ago? Because it was really beneficial.
And my comment to CSBA would be, why weren't you offering this?
No,
Not trying to be snarky, but it's,
No, that's-
it's just not timely in where they're offering the support, so that's.
Well, and especially then, we know elections are every 2 years, so like, hey, maybe
Not
line up some
unpredictable
of your
Right.
training to correspond with that.
So were you running out of time because whoever was delivering the information was talking over, or just?
No, these were the breakout sessions.
breakout
Yeah, so
sessions.
when we had, groups of
So
5
you
or
have
6, and,
time.
yeah, we had
And
like.
there's like a 10-minute timer, once the timer goes off, you're back.
You're
in the
done,
room.
yeah, 'cause I
Yeah.
remember doing that, I just didn't know if they didn't put you in soon enough and you ran out of
No,
time.
no,
Yeah.
it was just 10 minutes isn't enough
Yeah.
when you got,
Right.
so that
Lot
each
of
one of us
people
got,
will.
2 minutes to say
Yeah.
something.
That sounds like, yeah.
So your challenge with virtual,
Yeah.
are you doing all 5 virtual? Or you have a schedule?
I think it's gonna be more for another second per day.
Might be nice to possibly, cost for travel, but one of them in person.
It's at the pleasure of the board.
No, I'm just,
How
such
far
pleasure
away?
to,
Yes.
they're usually northern and southern, and northern, when I went, it was at the Sonoma County Office of Education, so
Mine
by
was
the
all in
airport,
Eureka.
so it wasn't that far. And I went to Spring,
Mhm.
so I did 2 of them there.
I'm wrong.
So I think it just depends on, but there
But
is.
they are good. And you have some information you wanna share? You said you had a cheat sheet. on
Okay,
the-
forward to Joe.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll make sure that they
Yeah, distributed out.
get that distributed.
That was the Robert's Rules of Order cheat sheet.
Anyone else?
It's a nice little 2-page concise.
I'll just give a shout out about the high school changed their, from a report card night to a back to school night.
Mhm.
And instead of you just going where you wanted to go during this time, they did it like the middle school where you go through the schedule. And even though it was a bigger, well, I think it ended up probably the same time commitment, I really did like hearing, because I don't get a lot out of my kids, so it was nice to hear what the topics were, what they were gonna do, what they were expected. So, I still haven't emailed the administration, but I did tell Joe that, I really like the change.
Yeah, and that's cool that they keep trying. They really are trying, because I know that I've gone through just as a board member, and you could tell that parents, like, they're trying to move along, but then they kind of hang, and so that you don't see all your teachers. So having that bell and the more structure is probably nice. And I attended Redwood's back to school night, which was nice. And I tried to go into the reading room because it was fun to see the folks in there. And it was nice to see the new principal meeting and greeting. And it looked like they had parent club there as well. And of course I did the webinar for the legal stuff. I got to keep in that.
Yes, I attend the high school parents night. It was good. And I noticed in Dana Gray they don't need to take the knee now when the bell rings, so I like that. Instead, I don't know who that make that change, but I like it. And the kids like it too.
That's important.
Yes. And Redwood, the park is closed on the evenings and weekends, so it's open to the community.
For the playground
Yes.
structure, it's generally locked only because we've had some vandalism and things in the past that have, for whatever reason, we don't experience as much as they like to get some of the trash and things like that, but we've found some things that were concerning, alcohol containers and things like that that really shouldn't be around our littles out on that playground before, so that's usually why that one is locked down during the weekends, so.
And Joe, you mentioned trying to get the track over.
Yes, but I think until we look at a new crack, that may be a hazard that we're opening ourselves to a
Oh,
liability.
okay, good.
Yeah. Oh.
And I wonder, do you think it's worse because of all the buildings now? Because there's more like seclusion? Is that why you think that's, because that hasn't historically been an issue.
Well, and I think that, yeah, it's a quiet place for people to go.
There's a lot of walls, you know, like you figure you could hide behind this nook and you wouldn't be seen from, you know, a couple sides. So maybe it's just, there's so many buildings.
Since we've added the
Yeah,
the
adding another
TK
barrier.
and all those kind of things, like it's when you're out on Chestnut, you're not seeing, and when you're, so when you're on the two roads that like,
Exactly, you can't see anything.
you're not seeing anything back at that playground.
So,
Versus Dana Gray where it's wide open to public on both sides, so.
Well, especially when the city park is closed.
right, which it still
They
is.
still have.
Yeah, that's true, that's probably filling the squeeze. Mm.
Hopefully that means Dana Gray isn't getting beat up, the extra use.
Probably a little bit,
Yeah.
but.
It's more open, I mean, like you can see from all sides there, I think that's,
I just know the use.
yeah,
So
great.
it's more concentrated use.
Yeah. But we've gone through this before with the park, so. It's a give and take with these things. Fortunately, we
Well, I
got.
guess we should be glad that everybody's, or the kids are wanting to play, right?
Yes, and
So
the
be
structure
outside.
for the most part has held up pretty well. It integrates with the use, and that was part of the funding that we used was our expanded learning. So I guess we could say this is really expanded when we have our community there on the weekends.
Anything else?
Just, so is there a safety plan, because we're usually trying to meet 3 times a year, is that in the works set for dates?
I'm sorry, did you ask that one?
Safety committee.
We will get those scheduled. I don't have, like, we've been working on a few dates, but I haven't gotten.
Yeah,
We don't
so
have
like,
a set yet.
there'll be 3 in a year, or just?
I think 3 to.
3?
I think 3 is a good number, and then if for some reason we don't need one, we can just say.
Right.
we'll drop it.
Okay. We'll probably see them again, so
Yes.
have us.
But we did get some of the information out about the volunteer program we kind of talked about or whatnot. So, I mean, we're doing a push for volunteers, and if they would like to volunteer on sites, then we can accommodate them. I won't say that we've had a rush of those folks coming in, but it was certainly an idea that was put out there, so we've responded and made sure
Okay.
that that's
And
available.
then, budget meeting, you're gonna go, Scott? And then, who else is on? Okay, very good. So if anyone has a last minute change, I can back up to that. And we can talk about some upcoming budgets. Okay. Awesome.
Okay, advanced planning, suggestions for future board meetings. I know these are some dates, obviously, October 9th is out. I know that Nicole wanted to meet before the first walk, so I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of these dates. The other one that's before the 23rd, I can't attend that, but maybe you can get some other dates. for that.
Yeah, I'll reach out and
Okay.
see, and it may even be if I can get someone for a time to do maybe a virtual session or something like that.
And then as far as a fall board workshop, do either November dates work for everyone? It's the week before Thanksgiving.
The Monday would probably be good.
You don't have a
No, it's the-
council?
it's the 10th.
And it was 17, as far as we know.
Don't know for sure if I'm going to a work convention yet, but I don't, maybe it's not, it's that whole week, so I'd be gone.
So that's why.
Monday and 20.
You want to pencil it in? Okay. Do you want to pencil it in?
Monday, the 17th?
You know, the other thing we can do, Joe, is we can do the last school board conference. Just take a couple hours.
Happy conference.
Registration.
Yeah, we can certainly do that.
So maybe let's pencil in the 17th, and then if we
Yeah,
can
so
all
I was
be
gonna say,
there.
then we start getting really close to the ABC.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Well, so let's pencil the 17th, and if that doesn't work, we'll try to find a couple hours
Yeah.
during the conference. Instead of lunch, whatever. Okay. And then January, we generally have a retreat in January. As far can do any of those days, so whatever.
We just thought asking now would be
Oh,
better
yeah.
than getting on the calendar and, because that's always been a.
13th too early,
It might be okay.
or is the 29th too late?
I would rather commit to the 29th than one of the Saturdays, like that kind of stuff. I don't know about, my Saturdays is usually. So we've got the 15th is that's just me, that's my high school block. And then,
Yeah, so we could either do Tuesday the 13th or Thursday the 29th. Yeah? Okay. 29th?
now are we talking evening or day?
Oh, you know, the 29th, I'm just realizing that's the superintendent's conference, so I will be, if I were to, I would be attending remotely for that.
Yeah, that sounds good. So how about the 13th? It would probably be, what, 5 to 7 or something? It's a weekday?
Whatever the board's preference is, whatever works the schedule, so 5 to 7.
Okay.
Just a little more nice.
Okay. We're all looking. This is good.
And while we're waiting on that, I just wanted to let the board know, I'll not be in physical attendance at the October board meeting. I have, get to connect with my kiddo, that weekend, and, so I'll be out of town. But I, have a space and will attend, remotely that meeting, so we'll facilitate that and we'll video and the screen double.
Okay. And do we know how the sound is with this new, some of us talk loudly, some of us don't?
I don't know.
I listened to one of them the first time we did it, and I think.
It can be adjusted after
Yeah,
it's
I listened to the
over.
August meeting and I could hear about 80%, which is pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. I was surprised because
Yeah.
I watched the first.
'Cause some people
You
just
can
talk
adjust it
slow.
after.
Yeah, you can adjust it afterwards.
cool.
Yeah, it depending on
There is a basketball game that night.
the background
Let's see how
sound.
many other games I'm gonna miss because it's Ryan's senior year.
Is there any,
The
is there a reason between the 13th and the 29th we didn't pick any dates?
There's a holiday in the middle. Let's see, the 16th is MLK Day, so we're closed at that
Like the 22nd
day.
of January? I know we're meeting on the 15th, right?
It's
It's
just
just a
a-
rural schools thing with that weekend.
It was only because it was a short week. That was the only
Okay.
reason there.
Yeah,
So
that could work.
you're looking at the
22nd works, right?
the 22nd?
January
I
22nd?
think so.
Okay. All right.
There's nothing on it yet.
Great.
And Joe, do you know why the rural schools isn't sending out the recording? They were so quick last, because there's one that night too, so we'll miss that other one.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
All right,
I
time
will
for a
reach,
call.
I can reach out to you.
Is it Newtown High School? I didn't.
It didn't really say, it was just a general, that's what.
Yeah,
Yeah, it didn't say, yeah.
So we're going with the 22nd?
22nd.
I believe so.
And the other one might be the 17th.
5 to 7, yes, 22nd?
Going once.
Okay, great.
And it looks like I am not going to the conference in the November.
Okay, so we got November 17th.
All right.
What time is that?
We'll do, it's a Monday, 5 to 7, if that works, yep. And then January 22nd from 5 to 7. That way the conference, we don't have to participate in the conference.
And as far as the board retreat, is that something, are there, I guess there's time to plan it, but if the board wants to do that somewhere else, you'll let me know.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So
Okay.
November 17th.
Yes. Yeah, 5 to 7, and Renee will send me 3
I'm writing them now.
And then I also, I don't know, it doesn't have to be official, I would love to, we can each do it on our own, but I'd love to do site visits, like, just site visits, not equity walks or anything, just, so I don't know if we can, if you want to facilitate that, or,
I can help facilitate.
okay. Because I know,
Even, because I was hoping Kim would stay, because she's Redwood, just to go in, so there's always a couple teachers say, come in and read, or come in and help. But you want to like know the dates or
Right.
times, so like maybe getting a couple of teachers that we can approach, so we can work on it, like 3 that would like us to come in and just help with the station, or help read, or what that looks like. I mean, that's what I would love
you know,
to
I
do.
think if you could do like a Google, like a doodle, and say, these are the dates, which 2 of you want to go?
Yeah.
And that way we can just
Come in.
pick the dates and whoever can go, can go.
Okay,
And
we'll put that on our ad.
obviously whoever has that
Mhm.
site should probably have first priority.
But two can go.
Yes, but
Um,
two can go.
Okay.
So yeah, we'll put that on our agenda this coming week and try to get some dates from them and,
Awesome.
That's the hard part.
I haven't been able to go to very many open houses and I leave.
Yeah, I haven't, that's
Well,
why
I
I'm
missed
saying,
all
I
of them,
haven't,
some of them
yeah.
were Monday, I missed.
Yeah, I haven't
They've
been-
been, they came quick and I lost.
And we have two new principals and new staff.
Would have been
and
fun, yeah, but I missed, I
things
had
going
like
on.
calendar conflicts.
Okay.
All the deliveries.
Thank you for giving us this list, these listed dates.
Yeah,
It's
good,
helpful.
we figured it was a good conversation, so.
Yes.
for sure.
Okay, and then housekeeping reminders and announcements, we have a dance. ELAC meeting and Three Rivers Charter School. So I know our next meeting is October 16th, right?
Yes.
So I don't know if there's anything else, I'm sure there's other things between September 16th and October 16th. but, Three Rivers,
Not really.
Good that once a month.
are you,
I'll be attending.
Okay. so Luz, if you want to attend as well, that's the,
It's on September 16th and they start their meeting.
and you can attend, you can still do virtual or no? No.
That's
I
fine.
had enough last time when I was.
They have it, it's generally a very short meeting, so if you.
And it's good to see the school.
It is, it's
Yeah.
nice to
Good to
go
go
on
by
the
and
campus and.
Take 5 minutes and they'll give you a little tour.
And especially this year being a renewal year for their charter, it's not a bad idea to
I actually
just
don't
kind of see
have
what's
like.
going
And
on.
let Kim know if she wants to do a board walk,
Conflict.
prior to her presentation, that might not be a bad idea.
Okay.
Where we officially go and kind of.
For sure, I'll share that
Okay.
information. I'm also trying to, I am registering for the legal side of update of charter renewals. There was a workshop that came out, I was like, oh, yes, I need that this year. Most years I could say, nope, not interested.
That's timely.
It is, very timely. So I'll be attending that just to make sure I'm not giving her any bad advice about where we're going. I want to keep that relationship moving forward well.
And then Renee, just to
Almost
put
done.
you on the spot really quick, who's the next agenda setting? Is it-
I think
Because-
it's student reps and you and Kathy, if you're available, yeah, so. I have one question for the board, regarding Three Rivers, fall report. Kimberly would like to be here on October 16 for that, if that's good for the board. Okay.
That's just after work, it's usually.
Usually it is, but she wasn't sure if you wanted her to wait till November, so, okay.
So when is agenda setting, the 6th?
Agenda setting,
So Sage thought he was October.
I have an invitation.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
patriotic exercise will led by trustee Stephen, but I haven't.
But it does say.
On the invite is,
Oh.
Scott and Sage, so.
Oh, it
yeah.
Okay.
So I must have already known you were not available.
is. Maybe I did already tell
Yeah.
You might have told me already. I don't have my scribbly note. I have scribbly notes that I rely
I just happened
on
because
more
the
than.
girls asked
Yeah.
when the meetings are, so that's
Yes.
why I knew they were
October
coming out.
6th,
Yeah.
3:30.
And you're gonna do patriotic exercise too? Okay.
Sounds good.
I don't know, so-
Okay. All right, with that, if there's nothing else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Second? All right, well, thank you very much.
No objection.
At 8:50 PM.